Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tending to Change. I'm your host, Jenny Juarez. So today we're going to talk about 3 super fun emotions: depression, anxiety, and despair. No, wait, please don't leave. I promise you that this conversation is going to have value for you. Well, at least I hope it does. So while you might be thinking that I'm about to jump into a very unpleasant conversation, I just ask you to just bear with me and see where this goes. So from my perspective, depression and anxiety are real like gender and race, and yet unreal like gender and race. They're thought constructs. They're ideas or beliefs that exist in our mind, but that we hold to be true. And yet, just like gender and race, because we have collectively imagined them as real and absolute, these thought constructs hold influence over how we view ourselves and how we choose to live our lives. They're unreal, but they cause very real consequences. If you were to sit with the concepts of anxiety and depression in your meditation or contemplative practice, you may notice some defining features of each. Depression and anxiety are both me-focused. They have to do with the small self or the ego, our storyline, and they manifest as thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations, but they differ in where they live. Depression lives in the past. It's our regrets, our sorrow, and our disappointments over things that happened that we wish didn't happen, or things that didn't happen that we wish would have. Depression exists as distorted memories with a characteristically dark, sullen shadow cast upon them. And it creates heaviness and lethargy in the body. Anxiety, on the other hand, lives in the future. It's our worry, our fear, and our panic about things that could happen but might not, which we wish not to happen. Anxiety exists as imaginary scenarios that we create in our minds, leading our bodies to feel either energized and focused on what to do next, or feel frozen and collapsed, both due to the release of stress hormones. Now listen, I'm going to immediately acknowledge that no, I'm not a clinical psychologist, a therapist, or a psychiatrist. I'm entirely unqualified to discuss or debate matters of brain chemistry. Where I'm speaking from is a combination of my direct personal experience with anxiety and depression and my own deep contemplations on these mental phenomena and the teachings I've gleaned over the years regarding consciousness, as well as the impacts of childhood adversity that I addressed in the last episode. So if you find yourself getting upset about this perspective that I'm offering on depression and anxiety, please know that I'm not positioning myself as an expert, nor am I disregarding the lived experiences of those with mental health disorders. I am inviting us to consider another perspective. Because unlike the past and the future, which only exist within our minds as memories and thoughts, the now moment, the present, is real. Now is what's real. And now is where choice and empowerment live. Resilience and empowerment are very important aspects of my worldview. I hang my hat on the belief that we always have a choice, even if it's only whether to give up or keep going. I have felt the jolt of power and courage coursing through my veins as I lean into life with gusto and the belief that I'm limitless. And I've tasted the satisfaction of overcoming, of growing. So let me take a moment to share my personal revelations of these 2 very painful, very challenging emotions of depression and anxiety, along with their accompanying thoughts and bodily sensations, as well as the third emotion that holds the potential to change everything. For me, depression feels like a metal blanket thrown over my body. It threatens to drown me in intrusive thoughts. When I'm in depression, my thoughts are all me-focused. I lament on the unfairness that exists in my life and how hard every day is. Depression feels like an eternity in hell. And once I'm stuck in it, it seems like there's no way out, that this is how things will be forever. It's this narcissistic perspective of look what's happening to me that it's a clue that I'm experiencing a depression. And it's this understanding that has unlocked a strategy for assisting me in emerging out of the state of depression. I first shift my thoughts toward others. I consider the people in my life and acknowledge the struggles and suffering that they're currently enduring. I invite myself to feel deep empathy for them, shifting my perspective to look what's happening to them. And then I offer prayers for comfort, resolution, and relief from suffering. I then marshal what little energy I have toward taking care of my most basic needs: a shower, a nutritious meal, rest, movement, journaling or a conversation with a loved one, prayer, contact with a therapist. This is what helps me escape that eternal hell of depression. Anxiety has a different flavor. For me, anxiety is racing, fragmented, and repetitive thoughts. There's an underlying edginess in my body, like my skin doesn't fit. It can make me want to stay in constant motion, or it can make me feel collapsed, like I'm stuck frozen. I'm worried, even panicked, about what might happen next and how painful it will be, whether that's physical or psychological pain. And I want to avoid it at all costs. And yet I feel helpless and stuck, like I'm tied to a train track watching this fast approaching train about to run me over. I call anxiety theoretical pessimism. It's because I'm assuming catastrophic worst case scenarios when there is no guarantee that the future will even manifest in this way. And the strategy that I've unlocked through this understanding of anxiety is that the way out of it is to take action. Usually, for me, that starts with the list. What is immediately in front of me? What action, no matter how small, can I take right now? You see, fear and anxiety tend to make us forget our own power and capacity. And taking action reminds us of who we are and what we're capable of. It's also helpful to remind myself that I have a 100% success rate of overcoming every single thing that has ever tried to take me down in life. My survival is evidence of my strength, and I'm not alone. Which brings me to the third challenging, painful emotion that I'd like to discuss today, and that's despair. I first became aware of what despair feels like during my yoga teacher training. Let me offer a little backstory. The type of yoga that I trained in is called heart-centered hatha yoga, and it finds its roots in Anusara yoga. Anusara was founded in 1997 by John Friend, and it's based on the philosophy that life is a gift that we're invited to remember and celebrate within our yoga practice. Anusara means flowing with grace, or going with the flow, or following your heart. And Anusara as a yoga methodology includes what are known as the 5 universal principles of alignment. These universal principles of alignment are precise steps for attaining optimal alignment, increased function, and decreased discomfort in yoga poses. And according to this method, when these universal principles of alignment are mindfully applied, it deepens awareness of the present moment. And when skillfully and consistently applied, they offer the potential for radical transformation. I'm not going to go further into the 5 principles right now, but I will just list them. In order, the 5 principles are open to grace and set the foundation, muscle energy, inner spiral, outer spiral, and organic energy. So we spent our first weekend of teacher training discussing the first universal principle of alignment, opening to grace. It was described to me as setting the foundation of the poses mindfully and with devotion. It's the willingness to receive love and support from a bigger energy and from others. But my experience with opening to grace that weekend was really just a painful acknowledgement that since those dark days of my early childhood, I had felt betrayed, cast out, and unsupported by God. I had spent so much of my life convincing myself that I was in control and that I could muscle my way through anything alone. And this hyper independence left me feeling very disconnected from life and from the world around me. I was just lost in my own sense of isolation and separateness. So despite these profound experiences I started having during my yoga teacher training weekends, around the fourth weekend of us being together, I started coming to the conclusion that my career and life path that I had invested so much effort and energy into were no longer serving me and the life that I really wanted to live. And as I came to that realization, an aching heaviness began to take hold in my heart. But it was different. It didn't quite register the same in my body as anxiety or depression had in the past. I was in great despair. I asked Benji about it, and she explained that to feel despair is to feel longing. She said that we despair because we realize that we can't do everything on our own, that for us to experience peace and freedom from suffering, we must surrender to our faith by turning toward the ever-present flow of divine grace. You see, despair brings us to our knees. It reminds us of our fundamental helplessness, that no matter how we prepare, no matter how by the book we live our lives, we cannot predict the future. And a pervasive feature of life is the groundlessness that belies all experience. Everything can and will change in an instant. And when we're in the throes of despair, the only solution I've come up with is to cry out for help. It can be a silent cry, a prayer of falling to our knees and begging God or our ancestors or our angels for help. It can be a humble, vulnerable call to a loved one for support. Or it can be both. And Benji said, when we take one step toward grace, grace takes 10 steps toward us. So if you find yourself despairing over the state of your life or of the world or both, I invite you to remember that you are not alone. Ask for help and then be open. Be open to what support, what opportunities come your way, and then say yes. Be brave. Follow the breadcrumbs of synchronicity. Be willing to try something different. Be open to receive love and support from your community. Imagine them all as angels or ancestors in disguise, ready and willing to provide you with guidance as you take the next right step forward. Because this divine flow of grace is the underlying pulsation of loving energy that pervades and is all things. This primordial love is yearning for us, patiently waiting for our longing for reconnection to emerge. Despair is longing in disguise, and it holds the potential to be the catalyst for profound change. So we'll end today's episode with a practice called Metta, or loving kindness. Metta is a practice that focuses on generating a kind friendliness toward ourselves and others in a gradual way, eventually including all beings everywhere. I first learned it from renowned meditation teacher Sharon Salzberg, who has taught about Buddhism, meditation, and the practice of metta for decades. She's also one of the co-founders for the Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts. Loving kindness practice involves the repetition of particular phrases recited inwardly, directed toward a series of recipients. The phrases that I use in my own practice are, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with ease. You are welcome to change these phrases to suit you once you get the basic premise of the practice down. It really is a rich and beautiful practice that evolves over time. And I want you to know that it's normal and perfectly okay to initially feel uncomfortable or even feel nothing at all while repeating the phrases. Please continue to do the practice anyway. It's called a practice for a reason. Over time, this practice of loving kindness can powerfully transform the way we view and think about ourselves and others in a wonderful way. It invites calm and it helps us stay connected to our hearts. So finding a comfortable seat, as we always do, letting your spine be long, holding yourself in a dignified and noble posture, welcoming the breath in and out the nose, settling and grounding into the present moment. We'll begin by calling to mind what in the practice is referred to as the benefactor. This is a dearly loved person in your life, or even a pet or a spiritual guide like Jesus, Mother Mary, or Buddha. It's someone who has always cheered you on, loved you, and cared about you. Imagine them in the center of a circle of soft light. Sense a heart-to-heart connection with this being, connecting with the feelings of affection and warmth that you have for them. And then repeat the phrases inwardly after me. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Now, letting the circle of soft white light expand to include you as well as the benefactor. Allowing yourself to be bathed in the warmth and goodwill that you're sending to this being before you. Repeating the phrases, may I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. Now including in the circle someone neutral, maybe a neighbor down the street that you're not very familiar with, or someone that you regularly see working in the grocery store. Invite them in the circle and direct these phrases of goodwill to them. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Now expanding the circle to include someone with whom you're having difficulties at the moment. Recognizing that they are a human being just like you, who longs for love and safety and peace, who also experiences suffering and pain and loss. Allow yourself to feel warmth and compassion for them as you repeat the phrases. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And now expanding the circle so wide that this beautiful, soft, white light includes the whole world and all the creatures and beings contained within it. And as if the source of this light is from your very own heart space, enveloping all of these beings, repeat the phrases. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be happy. May all beings everywhere be healthy. May all beings everywhere live with ease. And resting here, feeling as though you're breathing in and out from your heart space. Remaining with this sensation of affection and warmth until I call you back. Taking one more steady, deep breath in and out. Lifting the gaze, opening the eyes. I'll end with a quote from Sharon Salzberg. To reteach a thing its loveliness is the nature of Metta. Through loving kindness, everyone and everything can flower again from within. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sending so much loving kindness to you prayers of goodwill and peace and tenderness. May you be gentle with yourselves. And may what you glean from this episode and all the episodes in this podcast be a blessing not just to you, but to all who come in contact with you. Until we connect again, take care and have a wonderful rest of your day.